Hey guys, what is up? My name is Motion Movies, and I am here with a tutorial that I've been dreading for a very long time. So basically, this is just a 2016 updated version of the skin tutorial I made 1 year ago, and that has something like 370,000 views. I know it's ridiculous, one of my most viewed videos, but I've been dreading making an update for so long now, and today I'm finally going to do it for you guys, because the last one is just so outdated and old, and it's probably hard to watch, I would assume. So this one's gonna be a lot better, and I'm gonna make it a lot quicker. So I'm gonna try to just run through things quickly as possible, but in most depth possible, so it's not too confusing for you guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna list a couple of things that you will need for this tutorial. Basically, you're gonna need some basic skills in Photoshop, right? So you're gonna need to know your way around Photoshop a little bit. Now, it'll make this tutorial a lot easier if you do know Photoshop, but if you don't, I recommend going and watching like a basic tutorial on how to use Photoshop or whatever. There's bound to be heaps on the internet, and it'll just make this tutorial a lot easier. The next thing you'll need is obviously Photoshop itself, or really any photo editing software. Like, it doesn't really matter, but Photoshop CS6, or it doesn't matter what version, just Photoshop Extended. As long as it has the 3D capability in Photoshop, you should be good to go. So if you have Photoshop with 3D in it, which you can only get by getting Extended, that's perfect. That'll be amazing for this tutorial. It'll help you out a lot. But if you don't have that, you could use something like GIMP or, you know, really anything, any photo editing software. I mean, you could use Paint if you really wanted to, but that would be pretty terrible, and I don't recommend it. So I recommend you just go get Photoshop. It's really great, and if you get Extended, you get the 3D features, which will help you out a lot with this tutorial. Next thing you'll need is WinRAR. So basically what WinRAR is a, it's basically like an unzipping program thing, and, you know, it'll help you with the files that you need to download later on in this video, which I'll explain in a second. The links are all in the description for these, by the way, so, you know, if you want to get WinRAR, links in the description. Next thing you'll need, VTF Edit. Basically, that just turns everything into a VTF file, you know. Well, we'll get onto that later in the video. I know it doesn't really make sense now, but you'll need VTF Edit. Links in the description as well. So, 3 things you should have: Photoshop, WinRAR, VTF Edit. What's another thing? Yeah, that's pretty much it. You just need basic skills in Photoshop, Photoshop itself, or editing software, WinRAR, VTF Edit, and of course the files themselves that you need to download, which another link will be in the description. So you need obviously you need the weapon files. I knew I was forgetting something. Okay, so before we get into the tutorial, it would be really great if you could go like all my social medias down in the description. And anyways, with all that out of the way, let's just get straight into the tutorial, guys. So if you go into the first link in the description, you'll see this. Now, these are all the weapon files, right? So it'll say downloads here. And then these are just all the CSGO workbench materials, like UV sheets, models, examples. And obviously it's a .zip file, so you need WinRAR for this, to download this. So before you download this, just go and get WinRAR. And it's only 10 megabytes, so it shouldn't take too long. So, yeah. So to download this, just click on this link here, and it'll turn it into a zip file. Now, it'll download like really quickly. Depending on what browser you're using, it'll download somewhere else, but I'm using Chrome, so it downloads here. Now all you have to do is just click on this file, and it'll open up in WinRAR, and click close on the purchase subscription, because no one wants to purchase a subscription for WinRAR, ever. Now, select the 3 files that are in this WinRAR folder, zip thing, and then just drag them into your desktop somewhere. Now, before doing anything, you really want to make a folder. That'll just keep all your files, because there's going to be quite a lot of files for this tutorial, so that'll just keep all your files nice and tidy and easy to locate when we get into further on steps in the tutorial. It'll just make everything a lot easier to locate. So I made a folder here called tutorial, and I'll just drop those files in there. And basically, I already have them in there, so I'll just replace them, I guess. I already have these 3 things in there. So here's my folder. Oh yes, I forgot to mention, this is what your, yeah, I'll just have a photo up on screen right now of what the finished product should look like. So that's what you're going to end up with at the end of this tutorial. So, yeah, let's just continue here. So these are the UV sheets, and these are all the weapons. Those are just basically the UV sheets that you draw on. These are the object files, which are the 3D weapon files with no texture on them. And yeah, these are all object files. So basically, a lot of people were saying in my last tutorial, oh, where are all the knife ones? Why can't I edit knives? You need to supply the knife object files. You can't edit knife files. That's just basically the short answer. Valve itself doesn't supply object files for knives. I don't even think you could find them anywhere on the internet. So don't even bother trying to edit knives because you can't get them. Also, people were saying in the last tutorial, where's the revolver? Here it is. Happy birthday, you all got the revolver now. So congratulations, you can edit the revolver if you want. Today in this tutorial, I'm just going to be editing the AK-47 like I did in the last one. And here are the finish examples. Basically, those are all just text files with like random stuff that you don't even need for this tutorial. So anyways, so you want to go into your object files and choose a weapon that you want to edit. And so yeah, I know I'm going to be editing the AK-47, so I'm just going to jump into Photoshop and open up that object file once Photoshop opens, which is hopefully really quickly, because my hard drive is real slow. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So once you're in Photoshop, just click File, Open, and open the object folder that you downloaded, and just choose whatever weapon you want. So I'm going to be editing the AK. So the first thing you'll be greeted with is your workspace should be changed to 3D now automatically, and so this is what Photoshop Extended looks like. So you'll have the 3D capabilities. So you know, Photoshop Extended lets you look at 3D materials and objects and map textures to them. So that'll help a lot for making skins, and I think it's the best way to do it. So we'll switch over to 3D from the layers, and we'll just do a little bit of editing really quickly to make the skin easy to see. So click on the _PS_3D_default, and you'll see the diffuse, specular, illumination, and ambient. Ambient isn't really important, but these three are. So the diffuse, right? If you go edit texture, it's basically nothing. So what we need to do in this tutorial is we're going to replace the UV texture and then edit it. So go back to here, the default one, and click on diffuse, this icon, and go replace texture. Now this is where those UV sheets come in handy. So go back to your folder and open up the UV sheets, and then obviously you want to choose the right weapon for what you're editing. If I chose like a Nova one, that would probably mess it up. So just go AK-47 and open that up. And now, as you can see, the AK-47 has been mapped to, you know, the UV sheet's been mapped to the model. What we're going to do to make this a little bit easier to see is do the specular as well. So just go load texture on specular, choose AK-47, and then on the illumination as well, load texture, AK-47. And now, you know, it'll be a little bit easier to see because all of the lighting has changed and UV maps are all mapped properly. Now you want to go to your infinite light, and I usually like changing this to a point light. Just makes it a little bit nicer. And then if you click this button here, well, before you want to do that, you want to get your AK in a nice position, right? So get into a nice position where you can kind of see everything. And once you're happy with that, just go to your point light and click on this button here. And that'll just move your point light to your current position, so it'll be shining directly onto the AK so you can see everything. Okay, so now once you've done that, that's basically everything set up. Now we can start editing the skin itself, which is going to be pretty cool. So go to diffuse and go edit texture. Now in a new window, it'll open up a UV texture, and we're just going to go over to layers and make a new layer straight away, because we do not want to edit this background. And I repeat, do not edit the background layer, because this will not work if you edit the background layer. It'll just mess the whole thing up. So make a new layer immediately, and you can start editing on here. So, you know, this is where you can unleash your whole creative capabilities, and, you know, you can really do whatever you want. Obviously, if you look around the UV map, you can see that this is like the magazine, this is the stock here, this is the top of the AK, as you can see, like, you know, this part here, it kind of wraps around the top. This is like part of the barrel. You know, just heaps of different parts of the AK that you can edit. And so if you have basic skills in Photoshop, or if you watch the tutorial, you'll know how to fill selections with color or make selections. So basically I'm just going to go through and edit this UV file a little bit, and yeah, I'll get back to you when I'm done. So I'll probably just time-lapse this part right here, so I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so I've gone and done a little bit of editing on the UV map, right? And now what I want to do is I want to go and check out what it looks like on the skin. And so this is where the object files come like really in handy. So basically you can see like exactly what you're doing to the UV map on the AK-47 itself, like in live preview. So I'm just gonna fill up this base cover to 100% opacity, so you can't actually see any of this ugly UV map underneath. I'm just gonna quickly rename this to base color, and I'll rename this layer to details. And basically what I did with this base color is I just covered up all of the UV map with like a white base color. So you know how like in the Asimov skins they have like usually a primary color that covers the majority of the skin, so it's kind of like this. It's just a white, it's just a full white layer, and then I've got like details over the top that basically colorize the skin up a little bit. So now that we've done that, we want to go back to the AK-47 object. Just go back to the 3D panel, and just all you have to do is click and drag and then let go, and it should update it. And so now you can kind of see what your AK looks like. The lighting isn't the best. I mean, you could try and go and like play around with the like, you know, the coloring percentages and stuff like that, but you know, if your skin doesn't have much black on it, the contrast will be quite hard to see. But, you know, at least you can get quite a bit of understanding of what it looks like. And it's quite cool, really. You can see, like, a live preview of exactly what your skin looks like. It's really awesome. So, you know, you can either go back to editing and continue fixing up your UV map, or if you're happy with what your weapon is, then basically you can just go back to your UV map and just save it as it is. So, you know, I'm happy with this UV map, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to File, Save As, and then this is getting it ready to import onto the workshop. So basically you want to go back to your folder that you have, and you want to save it as a specific name. So I'm just going to name this AK-47, let's just say Asimov, just for fun, you know. Obviously this is an illegitimate skin, it's pretty bad, but this is just for the sake of the tutorial. So you want to go into Format, and you want to change it to Targa, or TGA. And basically, you just want to go Save, and then 32 bits per pixel, and click OK. And now you're completely done with Photoshop. I mean, you could close it if you wanted to, but if you want to go back and make further changes if something's wrong, or you want to keep updating your skin and have feedback from people on the Steam Workshop, then you can. Just leave it open. I'm just going to minimize it. And now you want to go into your folder where you downloaded VTF Edit. I just have VTF Edit here, and you want to open it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this TGA UV map file into a VTF Edit, so then we can import it and put it into CSGO. So you're going to open up VTF Edit and click on this blue document here, and click Import, and then you'll see your AK TGA file. Just open that up, and you don't need to change anything here, just click OK. Now this might take a little bit of time depending on the detail of your skin, because it's quite a big UV map, but this one loaded fairly quickly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go File, Save As, and then I'm going to save it as a VTF file. I'm just going to call this one the same thing, AK-47 Asimov, except not TGA, and we'll save it as a VTF file. Now you can close VTF Edit, and it'll make a little VMT notepad file. Just don't delete that, it's fine. And then here you have your VTF file. So you're pretty much done with this whole Photoshop side of the tutorial. If you've got any problems, don't forget to leave them in the comment section below. Now that we've done this side of the tutorial, I'm going to jump into CSGO, and I'll teach you how to upload it to the workshop and preview it in-game. Alright guys, so now we're in-game, and what we're going to do is we're going to open up console. Now, The console is a key right underneath escape on your keyboard at the top left, and it's that little squiggly line, so it's called the tilde key. When you press this, if your console doesn't open up, you want to go to Options, Game Settings, and then Enable Developer Console, and it's basically that key there. So you want to open up your console and type Workbench or Workshop, and then just go down to this workshop_workbench here and just press enter. And now basically that'll you can close your console now, and basically that'll load up this window here, where you can go ahead and preview your skin. So this is the really cool part of the tutorial. So what you want to do is you want to go over here and then go custom paint job, and now you want to go choose pattern, and then you want to go and locate where exactly you had your VTF file saved. So I had mine on my desktop, so if I go to C, users, my user, and then desktop and tutorial, here is my VTF file. And now, obviously, if I inspect it here, you can tell that it's not mapped correctly. So what I have to do is I have to set all of the offsets, so the X, Y, and the rotation offset to 0. And then, as you can see, it's still not really mapped correctly. So what you want to do is you want to do ignore weapon scale _size, and then boom, perfect. It's mapped correctly onto the skin, and it doesn't actually look too bad. It looks pretty cool. It's a nice AK. Usually, what I like to do is I like to put a little bit more wear on it. I think it just makes it look cooler. If it has a little bit of wear on it, and then you can go and click Workbench here, and then that'll just do a little like roll through of what it looks like. It looks pretty sweet. So that's basically the AK that I designed in like 2 minutes. I mean, you know, you'd obviously spend a lot more time and make yours a lot better, but anyways, it doesn't really matter. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go save as, and now you're going to save this weapon file as a text file. So I'm going to go back to that folder again, and I'm going to save this as AK-47 SC MOV. Okay, and now that's saved. Now what you can do is you can actually go ahead and submit it to the workshop. Now you click submit, and then it will just take a while to load depending on if you've ever uploaded stuff to the workshop before. And I'm going to call this AK-47 SC MOV. I can't type. You have to put a description in, so I'll just put a smiley face. For the preview image, what you could actually do is you could take a screenshot of this workbench and put it in Photoshop and then edit it if you want to. That'll just be the preview image, and you actually have to upload a preview image. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this thing that I found before. I previously made a skin for this tutorial, so I'll just use that one. Here it is. And so yeah, I took a screenshot of the workbench and then just blurred the background, Now you want to find the TGA file that you made before. So you want to go back to that folder again. It's a lot of going through your directory, back to the folder again, and there we go. And now you've got all your files loaded. So you got the text file, you got the VTF, and you got the TGA file. You want to click I accept and publish, and then in here you want to go I understand. And then, you click OK and it'll upload it to the workshop. I'm not going to do that. But basically, that's how you upload it to the workshop, and then people will be able to vote for your skin. And, obviously, if it's a great skin and you spend ages working on it, then who knows, Valve might add it to the game. And, you can make heaps of money. So, basically, that is, that's how to make your own skin in CSGO. This is the updated tutorial. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope it was a lot better than the last one that I made, which was a year ago. And I hope this one gets the same amount of views as the other one did, because, wow, that was a lot of views. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, don't forget to stay subscribed for future content. Like this video if you enjoyed it at any point, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.